I'd love to hear kind of in your own words, like what you would consider dead internet theory. You know, my monologue is a little cheeky, of course, but I do think it, for the most part, is kind of getting to a point where, you know, I'm sure you have X and all the platforms and things like that. And, you know, I used to love Twitter so much. I thought it was so funny, and it was like such a great tool for journalists too. And not to say that that same function isn't still there, but, you know, I feel like when I go on X or I go on Instagram now, I mean, you're almost guaranteed to get bot posts, and it's kind of odd that we're all kind of just like accepted that, and we're like, yeah, you know, whatever. So I'm curious, in your own words, what is dead internet theory to you?
So dead internet theory is a good old-fashioned conspiracy theory.
Yes. Hell yeah.
So a conspiracy theory is basically a set of ideas that's designed to explain something that doesn't seem to be explainable through any other means other than that there's a cabal of conspirators behind the scenes manipulating things and making things different from what they appear. And so there are lots of conspiracy theories. And so the dead internet theory emerged in the late, you know, sort of like, it emerged around 2018, 19, something like that. And it started with a user on an obscure forum called Agora Rhodes Macintosh Cafe, who went by the name Illuminati Pirate. He wrote an article called Dead Internet Theory. Most of the internet is fake. Now, what he was doing was he was bringing together chatter that had been going on 4chan and WizardChan for a number of years. And essentially, it's something like the Matrix in a way. So basically, their whole point is like, you think you're interacting with all these people. You think you're getting all this content from journalists. You think all this stuff. But what's really happening is most of that is bots. You're really interacting with machines, with AI. And so it's sort of this, and the reason there's so many bots and AI out there is that there's a cabal of conspirators who want to control us, who want to manipulate us and all this kind of stuff. So it had all the stuff of a good,
all the makings of a great theory.
Exactly. Exactly. And so what's interesting about that, and the reason I wrote the article that you had mentioned about the dead internet theory, is that the core of it is that here's the core of it. Most of the online stuff that's happening online is from bots. And at some point, early this year, maybe late last year, that became true.
Right.
So most of the stuff that happens on the internet is not being done by people, it's being done by bots, by AI, etc. And so I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
One fascinating dimension. The second fascinating dimension is that Meta, the company formerly known as Facebook, is actually like embracing the dead internet theory, like trying to make that happen on purpose for the money, obviously.
Right.
So there's another concept, and I'm going to bring a third Alex into this thing.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Maybe there's too
this
many
is
Alexes.
the Alex hour.
Yeah. There's a guy named Alex Blechman he's a game designer who was on Twitter, and in November of 2021, he wrote a tweet where he coined the term the Torment Nexus. Okay? The Torment Nexus is a theoretical fake product that's based on something dystopian. So I'll give you an example. The Metaverse, right? We've heard Meta talk about the Metaverse. The Metaverse was always a bad idea. Like it was a dystopian, it was a warning from science fiction writers. Yes. You know, that if we're not careful, we're going to end up in this Metaverse, right? And he thought, Metaverse, wow, that sounds like a business plan. And he renamed the company Meta based on this dystopian idea. That's what a Torment Nexus is.
Yeah.
So another Torment Nexus idea is Meta's mission to create fake celebrities, to create AI stuff. They want users on Facebook to be mainly interacting with bots. They want users on Instagram to be mainly interacting with influencers, but not influencers, digital twins of influencers. So they created these tools for Instagram influencers to create an online version of themselves to chat with their fans and stuff like that. So they're actually, this is a Torment Nexus idea because they've taken this dystopian idea of the dead internet theory and they're saying, this is a business plan. Let's do that. That sounds like a great idea. So that's the essential element of my column that I wrote.
Right. Which is hilarious. I mean, listen, I guess as a PR person, I have to appreciate a good spin when I hear one, but I don't know if I agree with that. It is funny how, and we always, people always joke about Zuckerberg being an alien or being a lizard person or being a
right.
But it is funny how he seems to always take the step that is like he's like the Peter Thiel interview, which I'm sure you recently saw. He goes, should humanity exist? And he goes, well, and are these guys? And of course, this is purely speculative, of course, but. What do you think is the end goal for, obviously money, I get that.
Profit.
Yes, you make money, you make profit. But, I mean, do they understand that, like, I always think, like, I'm a comedian. I'm some random idiot. And how do I have the foresight to be like, you shouldn't do that because this could eventually happen? Do they just not care? Or are they just, do they maybe, is it sometimes their attitude? Do they think, well, I figured everything else out, I'll figure that out too? What do you think about that?
Well, there's a certain type of personality that tends to succeed with giant, technology companies. So if you think about what people like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, as you mentioned, and a few others have in common, is that without the internet, if they were in another time and place, if Mark Zuckerberg existed in the year 1950 or something like that, right? He'd be an accountant or something. He'd be like he would be just the nerd in the back room that you'd never hear about. So these are people who are kind of on the spectrum. They're kind of have weird ideas about social stuff. They tend to be not people person, people, I guess you could say. They tend to, people like Kara Swisher will go as far as to say they really don't like people.
No, they don't.
But here's a person who doesn't like people, who's not very social, who's in charge of most of the world's social networking activity. It's kind of a bizarre situation.
Yeah,
exactly.
How did we let that happen?
Exactly. So, Elon Musk has his own Torment Nexus ideas. I just wrote about one yesterday, which is that he's got they've got Grok, which is an AI chatbot.
Oh, I know Grok.
From the company XAI. Yeah. So they're rolling out some digital friends, right? The first of which is a digital girlfriend called Annie,
it's so
right?
weird.
And this is like a teenage girl you're supposed to have a relationship with, and if you score enough points, you move up to not safe for work mode. This is a creepy idea.
Wow, really?
From a creepy dude, but this is another dystopian idea that you're in a dark room somewhere, instead of interacting with people and having a real girlfriend, you have a fake AI girlfriend, right? This is the stuff
that's
of
interesting.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And he's not like let's avoid this. He's like, no, let me be the one to profit from this.
Well, that's interesting.